All right. Welcome back today to the Roundup with the Sports Analytics Society podcast. My name is Matthew Reese. I am the Chief Growth Officer of the club. I'm joined today with the men's basketball coach of Fordham University, Coach Urgo. And Coach is this will be his second year, and he is coming off of a season where he was awarded the Coach of the Year for the Atlantic 10. And so, Coach, how did it feel when it's announced that you win the Coach of the Year in your initial season, and you got a couple players such as DQ and Khalid, and you got Kyle getting named into various accolades for Atlantic 10 Players of the Year?
Yeah, you know what? It's feels incredible. I mean, it's just it's really special for our staff. When you win those types of individual awards, they're really staff awards. Every head coach knows that you can't do anything without a tremendous staff, and I believe that last year we had one of the best in the country, and this year is no different. I think we're poised to really grow and continue to get better in pretty much all facets of college basketball, not just on the court or recruiting or relationships, but the business aspect as well. And then for the players, it's a team award. These guys have put in so much time and energy. Guys like Darius Quisenberry, his leap of faith to not only come to Fordham, but then stay during the coaching change between Coach Neptune and myself. I'll be loyal and indebted to him for forever. And obviously, Khalid Moore took a chance on us as well. He knew what he wanted. I've never seen a kid so driven and had such a routine of greatness that it was no surprise to us that he was as successful as he was. And then, what's really special in this business and why I got into it is the relationships, and to see the growth of young men come in as freshmen and then obviously grow as complete men, mature individuals ready to conquer anything they do after graduation. Kyle Rose is the epitome of that. If you look in each and every year, his growth and development, both on and off the court, have been tremendous. And he was rewarded with being the ultimate Fordham basketball player by getting that all defensive team award. So, he comes back and ready to increase his offensive production, but maintain potential defensive player of the year honors. And I think that's a goal of his. And if he can achieve that, I think that puts us in position to be really successful as a team.
That's awesome, man. And I definitely think I agree with all those, and especially how, you got guys who are winning these awards. And I'm sure there's players on the team who look at that, and it's setting that standard where, you might see someone who is kind of younger and they're getting their minutes now this year and say, I'm standing right beside the guy who's on the all defensive team. You got a guy who's playing all A10. It's like, I want to be at that same level, and being able to set that standard, it's always helpful. And especially when you have a guy like yourself, where it's like, I got the Coach of the Year for my conference. Obviously, I want to play at that level and kind of show the whole world why we're doing what we're doing. But yeah, it's good.
Well, you know what? The whole Coach of the Year thing, it was obviously a program award, and it feels great. And it's kind of really special for my wife and my family because of all the sacrifice and commitment that they put in on my behalf, as well as all the wonderful people that I've worked with up to this point, from Coach Myers, my high school coach, to Coach O'Toole, who's now at Pittsburgh, but also his son's a preferred walk-on for us. It comes full circle. He was my coach at Fairfield. And a guy like Bill Whitaker, who was my mentor in coaching, and Steve Turner giving me my first shot at Gonzaga High School. And then obviously Jay Wright and Pat Chambers. I got, communicated and by them a lot after that award came out. So it was really exciting for everybody involved in our program. But I will say that the best part about our team was it wasn't the praise of me, or it wasn't the praise of, the guys that made the all-conference teams. It was actually everybody was extremely upset in the locker room. And the reason being was we felt Will Richardson should have been not only all rookie team, but potential rookie of the year. I mean, he led all freshmen in three-point field goal percentage. He was third in the entire conference in three-point field goal percentage. We were like 16-3 with him in the starting lineup for the entire year, and he got snubbed. And folks that didn't even start or didn't even produce remotely close to the same statistics, both winning and loss column, both the individual statistics, were awarded that team as freshmen. And our guys were furious. They weren't praising Khalid or Darius. And Darius and Khalid and Kyle both said, yeah, this is great, but, we got something to prove for Will Richardson. And that showed kind of the connection that locker room had. And hopefully we continue to motivate us and bring us more and more together. It certainly did this summer. We needed to continue this fall and into the season.
Yeah, definitely. And name another player in the conference that got its nickname chanted as a rookie, man. It was awesome to hear. Yeah, but you're talking about teams here for the summer, being able to build those bonds. You get guys who are transferring in, kind of taking a chance on Fordham, having a bunch of coaches come in. With all that, how have you been able to kind of as a team and all of you, from a personal but also the family aspect of the team, kind of take Fordham in as your home?
Yeah, you know what? We take a lot of pride in the name on the front of the jersey. And I think that's what had been missing for years and years and years. And, Coach Pecora had it going here and kind of dropped off a little bit. And then Coach Neptune came in and we restored that. And now we've taken it to another level. And honestly, we feel like Fordham has the ability to be, the next Villanova, certainly on the level of Loyola Chicago and some of these other fantastic, Jesuit and Catholic institutions. None of them have the greatest city in the world in their background as their campus. And so we feel like now with the support of our administration and President Tetlow and Ed Cole at the helm and all of the resources that have been granted to us, we need to continue to improve like everybody else. But we feel like this is such an opportunity here. And we want to restore the pride both in the fan base and the alumni base and the ex-players. And our players have really felt that. We don't talk about family. We call it the Ramley, but we don't really talk about that. It's just kind of something that happens organically. We've had tremendous leadership and tremendous unselfish play, and guys like Antrell Charlton and Kyle Rose and obviously Khalid Moore and Darius Quisenberry. But this year particularly, we just have a bunch of guys that want to do something really special, and they're willing to do whatever it takes to do that. And if we continue to gain support from the student body here, the sky's the limit at Rose Thrill, as we call it. And I'm thankful to them for last year, but it's not where it needs to be. We need to continue to do our part as well as the student body do theirs. So we're very, very excited about this year and what we've created, but there's a long way to go to put us where we're hopeful to get to.
Yeah, man. As Kobe said, once job's not finished, but it's just building off that. And you guys made a spark the first year you were able to kind of join in as a coach, and so being able to talk about with students as well. There's plenty of students, I'm sure, who have looked at this and said, same type of style. It's the greatest city in the world. I want to be here. I want to bring that mentality. Yeah. And it's something that you can see with the basketball team in the past year. It's just the energy that everyone brought towards games and just being able, you have the shirtless herd, you got people lining up outside. It's awesome. And
got to keep that going, right?
Yeah.
The shirtless herd was, again, something that I think could become a national treasure. I really do. Inside what is already a national treasure in Rose Thrill, which is the oldest on-campus arena in the country. We have all of the makings of something really special for people to catch on to and latch on to. And, I think we have the right people in place and leadership on all levels. And it's just a really exciting time to be a part of Fordham athletics, specifically Fordham basketball. And hopefully we can kind of do our part and continue to help it grow.
Yeah. And I'll definitely say, that change has been made. And when you first started as a coach, as the head coach with Fordham, what was the immediate culture that you wanted to bring? What's the first, step one? This is going to be my administration. This is what I'm going to do. And it's going to help out everybody.
Pride. Restore pride back in the name and the front of the jersey. Fordham University, I've grown up around Jesuit institutions my entire life, attending Gonzaga High School in D.C., Fairfield University in Connecticut, not far from here. I used to come here on a regular basis down the Metro North, visit some of my friends that were students here. I played in an intramural softball game at one point in the championship here. And my father went here, 1954, graduated in 59. He went to 60, graduate of law school at 62. All of his closest friends are Fordham graduates to this day. And, it's something really special for me, my family. When you come from a family of 10 children, 9 boys, everybody's competitive. I had a connection with my father through basketball. Obviously now my first head coaching job and hopefully my last is at his alma mater. It's something really special. Sometimes I got to pinch myself because I think I'm living a dream, but and those are always like, oh, where are you going to go? You're going to leave, blah, blah, blah. As long as my father is still a part of my life, which is forever, no matter whether or not he's here or up in heaven, I want to restore his name, his honor. It's just such an incredible privilege to be a part of such a huge alumni base and prideful place. It's I just think there's so much untapped potential here. So it was restoring the pride, understanding what we're a part of, the history of the campus, and being a part of something bigger than ourselves, and doing something really special. And everybody who we have on our staff and in our locker room, we used Trailblazer as kind of our theme. Everybody who came here and continues to come here wants to do something that's never been done before. It's not easy to do. It's much easier to go somewhere that's already been established and has a winning program and it's consistent, and you kind of just fall in place. Well, that's not what we have here. We have a bunch of guys who want to roll up their sleeves and start from the bottom up and build something really special and be remembered for a long time. And so certainly pride. And how we did that was, just buying into all the little things, having nothing to do with scoring the basketball, all the little winning plays. And you see guys like Kyle Rose diving on the floor and for loose balls and taking charges and doing whatever it takes to get the W at the end of the day. And that's all restoring pride in the name of the front of the jersey, man.
Definitely. And I know, you got guys who are going to play and they're saying, I played for Fordham. And, that's that mentality you want to have, especially when you have everybody's looking at the front. You got people who are watching the game. You got people who are talking about the school, and you got guys like John Rothstein taking a bunch of tweets over about Fordham, just getting that name out there, and people who are happy of just the fact that whether it's a current student, someone who's looking to get in there, or it's somebody who's an alumni and it's just saying, I went there and I'm happy about it, instead of, there's the other side where some people could say, if success isn't there, then so be it. But when the success is there, you could definitely see that, just pride. And it's more than just a couple people. Like, it's a whole family, as you say. It's the Ramley, and that's what makes it fun.
It's the Ramley, man. And honestly, sports at the college level has the ability to put, institutions on a national stage. And, a lot of people don't really comprehend what college athletics has the ability to do for the entire institution from a research standpoint, from a diversity standpoint. Honest to gosh, like, we're the only ones on national television that have the ability to wear that name and put us out there for everybody to see. And the better and more exposure you get, obviously, Villanova is a prime example. When I was there in 2009, we went to the Final Four. It just exploded, and continued to explode. And you just see it all the time with Loyola Chicago, VCU. They're now household names as a result of their men's basketball program making it to the NCAA tournament, being a national stage. Like, for instance, FDU. It's always these smaller schools that get this exposure, Gonzagas of the world, and all of a sudden enrollment increases dramatically and finances increase dramatically. There aren't very many things on it from an institutional level that have the ability to gain clicks immediately. Mm-hmm. And right now, men's basketball has the opportunity to do that for Fordham, and the people in charge kind of see that, and we're grateful to that. Now we have a huge responsibility to represent that, with great character and with the Jesuit values, and bring pride to the alumni base, and something that everybody can be really proud of.
Yeah. And bringing it up with you were saying with Loyola Chicago and Villanova, I know for a fact it was when Villanova made the championship 2016. you saw all the enrollment went up like I think 200%, something like that.
Yeah.
And the same thing, Loyola Chicago makes it to the Final Four. Enrollment just spikes, and then FDU, that coach gets a new job immediately just because it's the recognition, it's
Yeah.
that national standpoint. So when you talk about stuff like that, and you have games in the Atlantic 10 Championship, or you have games, even regular season games that are just on like USA Network,
Yeah.
or if you got like NBCSN, just whatever it is, or SNY, it just builds that brand and allows people, even if it's with basketball, if it's some high school kid who's looking at it and said, "Oh,
100%. Yeah.
this is the recruitment that you want." Like, we don't have to do anything. We're just showing you how we do on live TV, and this is performance right here.
Yeah, and it's also another example of how you can have tremendous academic institutions that are very, very high level athletic institutions as well. There's a number of them, and it is possible. And the better you do, and the more exposure you get, you tend to obviously have more candidates at your call. And I think Fordham's done such a tremendous job with that already. It's an elite academic institution, and we want to make it an elite athletic one as well. And I think you can do both. And when you're working hand in hand, there's really, really some special things that can be accomplished.
Yeah, yeah. And kind of switching over to so with sports analytics, and so as the elite athletic institute, this is also a program that's had an elite defense ever since you guys have been around. And when it comes to ratings such as Ken Palm, ESPN, anything like that, you can see right there that, especially with defense and the team overall, this is a team that 2 or 3 years ago was in the 300s for Ken Palm, and now they're itching towards that top 100. But this is a team that I believe they're like 85th in adjusted efficiency for defense. And then you got last year, you had specifically in block percentage, you had Rostick, who was in the top 50, and then Abdu, who was top 10. And so in reality, there's blocking, and then there's Abdu, and you have it's whether it's a block itself or him just putting his hands up, someone's going to make a pass instead of a shot because that's the presence. But kind of, when you see stuff like that, and that's the potential you see, what's some of the other types of stats or something that you've noticed and you say, this is what this team has a lot of pride in, no matter what, whether it is like a block percentage, rebounding percentage. I know Kyle was really good with steals, and you could see it clearly because he's getting in the all defensive team. But anything else of just like, even if it's offense or defense, just a specific category you find yourself where we are definitely in that elite category for?
Yeah, I mean, loose balls, right? The 50-50 balls, especially in league play. A lot of games are going to come down to inside that 4 minutes, and the team that's, usually getting to the 50-50 balls first, securing more possessions as a result of just playing harder and doing all of the little things and giving it up. Those tend to be the difference in really close games, specifically in league play. So we pride ourselves a lot on 50-50 balls. And then, like you mentioned, our defense, it's about toughness, it's about togetherness. And, our guys have taken a lot. I keep mentioning that word pride, man. They take a lot. I mean, that gritty, grimy, just whatever it takes kind of attitude. Doesn't matter if it's 50-48 or 80-82, right? We're going to do whatever it takes to finally see our names in the win column. And those guys take a lot of pride in all those little plays like charges and dives. And, you mentioned that Abdou Simbala was playing on a torn ACL and MCL last year that he had kind of discovered after the season. So, to think what he was capable of doing and on a bad leg, now we've cleaned that up and his summer's been tremendous. He's fully healthy, jumping off both legs. The sky's the limit with him. We know what he can do defensively and on the boards. Now I think offensively, he's taken a next step this summer and developed his game, and we're going to need it because, Rostick's, no longer with us. And so that defensive kind of presence affecting shots, not necessarily blocking them. And then guys are less likely to get all the way to the rim, or they're going to shoot pull-up jumpers, which they're not usually used to. And, as a result, we can kind of focus on forcing our opponents into tough twos for 40 minutes, and that's really our goal defensively. And with someone like that on the back end, and then we added Yole this summer, who's another 6'11" kind of monster, energy and motor, not crazy athlete, but long and athletic enough to really affect a lot of shots. So, and Elijah Gray and all the other defensive, presence that we have. So that is definitely something we take a lot of pride of. But to answer your question, it's certainly the 50-50 balls.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And you can see it with any Fordham game, and anyone who goes to games, everybody knows like that, just diving for the ball, showing that effort. It could show pride, it shows grit, it shows everything that you want in a player, where it's like they're going to give it up their all just to make sure, even if it's not something like, you could get as many points as you want, it shows up on the board. But if you get a loose ball, like that's not something someone looks at and says, "Oh,
No.
I'm stat padding." Like you're doing it because you want to win.
No, you want to win, and you want the fans to love coming to the games and watching. And our goal is to play as hard as we possibly can when we step on the floor, 94 by 50 feet. Do whatever we can. Now, that doesn't always mean you're going to come out victorious. I mean, we've played our hearts out in a couple of games, and unfortunately came, up short. But that's typical. That can happen. But in the locker room, as long as we can look at each other and say, "Look, I did everything in my power and gave it up for the guy to the right, guy to the left, and everybody on the staff," which we believe most of the time we can do, then you're okay with the outcomes, and that's easily, if you do lose playing that way, the next game it's much easier to come back and kind of not dwell on the past and make sure you're prepared and you get that next game. You don't go into a 2-game losing streak or 3-game losing streak because you're still giving every ounce of energy for each other, that eventually it's going to pay off in the win column.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, like, you get a game where if it comes out, regardless win or loss, if you have no regrets, you're not going to worry about it the next day. Where
No.
if you have, if there's a day you say, somebody didn't take the shots as they wanted to, then there's that regret. And so when you see a team like Fordham and how you guys have been doing, there doesn't seem to have that mentality at all. And it's just next game, next man up. It's always 0-0. The win column is 0-0 after every single game. And so that's helpful. And you talk about guys like Abdu, you got him coming from Penn State, and there's a couple guys who've come from other schools beforehand. In an era that's been kind of transfers and recruitment, you start to see a lot more of it towards college sports. What's kind of an advantage that Fordham's been able to take, where you've gotten tons of guys who say, again, back to like, this is the greatest city in the world. There's a program that's building here. People want to jump on now so that they can kind of build that beginning. But what's something you've seen and kind of ways you guys have been taking advantage of this new lifestyle in college ball?
Yeah, you know what? We feel like the relationships that we develop are really tight, and our staff has done a tremendous job of kind of recognizing the right fit for our locker room. We're not just looking at any, the most talented player. We're trying to find someone who obviously is talented, but it's more important that they can come in and they fit the fabric of our program and the institution itself, and really kind of integrate into the locker room. And we've done a good job of kind of weeding out the ones that we thought were really talented but didn't just quite fit, and we figured that out through relationship building and through visits and things of that nature. So, we've taken our time and been very diligent on the right types of kids that we want for our program and the school. Now, we believe that the Atlantic 10's kind of in the perfect kind of situation as far as transfers are concerned. You got the high major programs that kids are looking to potentially go to another spot, maybe a step down in their mind, but not too far down, right? And then you're looking for the mid-major kid, statistically, who jumps all the way to the Power 5, and their minutes decrease, their point production and their statistics decrease. So they're like, wait a second, let's move up this level. This is a high major level, but it allows me a little bit more freedom, maybe physically, whatever it might be. Don't get me wrong, there's absurd talent in our league, but that's kind of the perception between the mid-major and also high major. So we're kind of sandwiched in between as the Atlantic 10. So we feel really good about where we are. And then obviously you got New York City, man, and you have the ability to come to a place which is a top 50 academic institution in the country, get a degree, whether or not it's a master's in leadership and sports management, or, and do it while maybe taking classes at Lincoln Center and living here at Rose Hill. I mean, it's unlike any other experience you could potentially have in the country. And we have to showcase that. And we've done a really good job of that. We need to continue to.
Yeah, yeah. And I've been able to see it myself being a senior and this growth and all the people who've been able to help contribute to it, where it's not just one, it's a whole community, and having people where, if someone wants to transfer here, whether it is for academics or athletics, there's an environment that no matter what you're part of, it's very inclusive. And
yeah,
there's so many things that you bringing up, LC too, and lifestyle, New York City, just whatever you want to do, man. And yeah, it's really good. And so you're bringing up Atlantic 10. There's a bunch of players there, and I know the A10 schedule is supposed to be released today, the day we're recording, but there was that schedule which will be coming out, but there's also the non-conference that came out. A ton of Fordham fans were excited to see, St. John's, MSG, December 16th. And that's a game that, if any of you guys are listening right now, whenever those tickets come, we're making our way over, because want to make that place maroon as soon as possible. But you got a bunch of games, whether it's you get to play Battle of the Bronx again with Manhattan College, and playing against Columbia again. You're getting Wagner's, the opener, and then you play North Texas at Barclays. You get the Paradise Jam. There's a bunch of fun stuff there. So
Tulane coming to town will be a big one, because they're very, very good, and that's another great home game for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's definitely one where, you want to come off strong, where you beat them 95-90 last year, and you have this mentality that going to go do it again. And now you come to our place. So it's going to make it fun. But anything with some of those games, whether it's Tulane, you're playing in a Paradise Jam, you're playing against Patino, St. John's, MSG, huge New York college basketball game, kind of help put that back on the map. What's something you'd like to see in the future, whether it's both, it's conference play or non-conference play, that you kind of see playing with the schedule?
Well, a couple of things. I think non-conference, people don't really comprehend the difficulties that scheduling brings nowadays, with all the Power Five, and even the Big East having 20 already locked in games. And then you have your MTE, which for us is, last year was the Tom Kachowski. We held our own classic, which is 3 to 4 games. And this year we're at the Paradise Jam in St. Thomas, which is a total of 3 games, and potentially a fourth that comes as a home game prior to that. And, so, a lot of these Power Five conferences have on their schedule 24 games already locked in, plus they have the Big Ten ACC Challenge or the SEC Big East, or whatever they are, and you get to 25 and 26, and then you have the Big Five in Philly, and those teams are already at 28, 29 games, and you only get 31 total games between non-conference and conference. So naturally, they don't want to buy, or Power Five doesn't want to go into a battle against a Fordham in the Atlantic 10, when they only have 2 or 3 home games or additional non-conference games to schedule, and possibly go through a battle where they could lose, or they don't get any of their young guys experience. They don't, the net is something that everybody's caught up in, and offensive efficiency and scoring margin. They say they don't use it, but it's clear that they do. And most people know that. And so it's like, wait a second, you want to win by 25 is ridiculous, but, runs scores up, and, but if you're going to do that, you're not going to then go play a Fordham or any other Atlantic 10 team for that matter, if you only got 3 or 4 games that you're trying to gain experience and win comfortably. So scheduling has become extremely difficult. What I'd love to see here in New York City is, why can't we do a City 4, City 5, City 6, whatever it is, like in the old days? Do it at Madison Square Garden or Barclays. Both of those, stadiums would hold incredible amount of fans. They're both interested in doing it. Or UBS Arena, get Iona, St. John's, and Fordham and Manhattan, and whoever else it is, Columbia, Hofstra. Why not do a City 4, City 5, City 6, whatever it is? Lock those in every year. All tremendous basketball programs with great history, and bring back New York City basketball as really a huge excitement. When Fordham's good, obviously that's great for the city, right? And you got a guy like Coach Patino, who is just so awesome and is willing to, put his team out there and play difficult schedules, and we're grateful to them. We'd like to lock it in for like a 10-year deal, just like the Battle of the Bronx is. And, we could play at the Garden every year, man. And we appreciate that. The Barclays has been tremendous to us. They had an additional date on November 10th or 12th, but we couldn't get anybody to come and play us because it's a neutral site. And, you obviously want a high major program to fill the stands and get it really pumped up, but we couldn't get anybody to commit to it. So it's very difficult in the non-conference now to schedule. Most people are like, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? Well, there's a lot of financial reasons. There's a lot of, contractual reasons that you can only do so much. So we put together what we think is a tremendously challenging, certainly different than last year, less home games to give us an experience to go on the road in the Atlantic 10, but also the home games we do have are really, really exciting. The neutral site games, obviously, at the Barclays and the Garden are home games to us. And we need our fans to show up and show out, man. And that's ultimately, I don't think our fan base understands the home court advantage we created last year. It was electric. All of the Atlantic 10 teams that came here that played and sold out, Rose Thrill the last 10 games of the season, they all left here saying they had never seen anything like that here, but also that it was not just here for Fordham, but nationally one of the toughest places to play in the country. When you got Archie Miller and you got, Frank Martin, guys that have played, coached at the higher levels and seen these big stadiums full. You got Mark Schmidt, who's been in the league forever, and obviously Anthony Grant, who's been at Dayton, and Travis Ford. You got all these tremendous coaches that came here to play and were like, what is this? Holy cow, are we going to have to deal with this for years to come? And that's exciting, and we need that to continue. So please, we built a schedule to build around our fan base, and we need everyone, as many people as possible, to come out and make sure you get your season tickets, because single game tickets will be extremely difficult, like they were the last 10 games.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely pack the hill this year again. So I even know with you get a non-conference game with St. John's, if you get the last name Patino, anyone's gonna show up just for that. But you want to make that same type of style with Urgo. You want to get people showing up. You want to get everyone before to make that type of mentality, have people go. And so, he's a guy where you're going to play against a couple teams that, they've had tournament experience, or Atlantic 10 is usually a conference that historically can get, the conference winner, but they'll get some bids at large. And so they've had a lot of years where, there might be between 2 to 3 teams. Last year, we only see VCU go in, but, just Fordham having one of the better seasons with the Atlantic 10 tournament recently. What would it mean to you, looking into the future and towards being one of the guys who kind of helps bring Fordham back to the NCAA tournament and go back to the dance?
Yeah, you know what? It's not about me per se. Obviously, again, it's a program thing. It's the ultimate experience. You want your kids to achieve that. That's their goal. They want to go to a place where they have the opportunity to. We felt like we were an NCAA tournament team last year, certainly an NIT team. I think if it was held back at the Garden last year, we probably would have gotten a nod, but it was in Vegas, and maybe they wanted some regional teams. But for us, the Atlantic 10 has been a 3.5 bid league for the last 20 years. Yeah. Last year was kind of an anomaly, and we're hoping, and we believe we had, Dayton was as good as anybody you'd play in the country, and obviously VCU, but you go at St. Louis or you play us, and we were as competitive as anybody, right? Especially at the end of the season, and that's always the goal. The goal is to be the best team you can be by the end of the year, and I think we've achieved that the last 2 years. Even though we were only 500 2 years ago, that was as good as our team could be. At that point, I felt like we got to that level. Last year, we fell one game short of the Atlantic 10 championship, but I thought we were playing the best we could possibly play. And if Darius Quisenberry doesn't separate his shoulder in the middle of the second half when it's a 4-point game, maybe we pull that out, right? So that's the goal. And it's going to vary from wins and losses every year because you just never know what kind of team you have. But this year, our goal is like no other year, or just like any other year. It's to be the best team we can be by the end of the year. I think this year we have enough depth, enough talent, enough athleticism. If we are the best team that we can be by the end of the year, there is no doubt in my mind we have the opportunity to make the postseason. And that's obviously a goal for all of us and a dream for all of us. And You really want it for the guys, right? They work so hard. This is a full-time job. They give their blood, sweat, and tears to this program, to this institution, and you really want them to feel, that incredible jubilation when your name is called on Sunday. There is no feeling like it in sports, and I hope and pray that we have the opportunity to hear Fordham called at some point while I'm the head coach or even a part of the staff.
Yeah, and I can tell you, that's one of those things where you get shown on ESPN a couple of things. You get the school watch parties, and you want all these people coming in, make it all exciting. Whether it's Rose Thrill, get a bunch of people ready, pumped up for whatever it is. But yeah, you get guys in the A10, and I was surprised too. It's a team that, excuse me, it's a conference where you normally see a couple teams make the tournament. If not, you get a bunch of guys in the NIT, but you got guys who you had Ace Baldwin, you had Deron Holmes, you had
Kamara, you had all sorts of people. Just Yuri Collins, who led the country, I think, in assists and broke records. Just so much talent in this league and such incredible coaching that I think it got disrespected a little bit. And unfortunately, that kind of seems like the wave, the Power Five. To have 10 or 11 teams go from a conference and just above 500, and just because they're playing in the Big Ten or the ACC or the SEC or the Pac-12, they're considered, better than, the top 5 or 6 or top 3 or 4 in our league. That's absurd. Yeah. And it truly is. And to waste so much on the non-conference of games in November and early December when teams aren't even close to as good, possibly fighting through early season injuries or injuries that took place over the summer. You got to take that stuff into account. So they really should take a look at what the team looks like and how they're playing in late February and March when they make those selections.
Yeah, definitely when you're playing against your own conference. And that's what it is, guys. It's give some love to the mid-majors. But it's what you want. You want guys, you want representation with the A10.
And every year that the mid-majors get an opportunity, and they're the most watched, the ratings are through the roof because everybody wants to see those teams succeed. And every year now, more and more, with more parity in college basketball than ever before because of the transfer portal and because teams are older as a result of COVID and now NIL space. But, you want those types of teams in the tournament. It makes it more exciting. It brings more fans in, and we all know it's about money, and they generate a lot of money, whether or not it's gambling, whether or not it's TV ratings. I mean, everybody anywhere in the country was watching FDU last year.
Yeah.
Right. So,
and
it makes sense.
There's always going to be blue bloods who are going to do whatever they need. Yeah.
And rightfully so.
Yeah. That's how they build their programs. But like you said, someone's going to start somewhere. And that's how you get the teams like FDU. You have now Loyola Chicago, who's joined the A10. And the reason they're able to get to that type of style is, you get showcased. You get all this opportunity to make the tournament, and just very, very helpful. You get a couple teams where, they'll be mid-major, but they show up occasionally, and that really helps. Yeah. And so I'll wrap up with one more question. So thanks again, by the way, for joining us on this. And I wanted to just bring up, this is a team that there's a bunch of guys who come through it. There's guys who've been here for 4 years now. There's also guys who've been brand new, but who are some of the guys that you could say as a standout, or even just as a team aspect, for if it's the casual Fordham fan, or if it's someone who's looking into A10, or anyone who's really looking into college ball in general, just what to look out for with Fordham, whether it's a player or if there's some type of style that we're going to see this year?
First of all, thank you guys so much for having me on. This was fantastic. And,
appreciate it.
Anything we can do to engage the student body and the institution, we want to do whatever it takes. So I appreciate you having me on, and I'm available anytime you want. And our doors are open to you for practice or anything you want to do. So, I appreciate that, obviously. But as far as our style of play, it's going to be extremely exciting. We're going to, we have a lot of depth. We want to press a lot more this year. We want to play a lot faster. Things that come with that are, a little sloppy maybe at first, but we need to learn how to take care of the ball while playing fast and take good shots. But I think everything's going to stem off of our defense and really wreaking as much havoc as possible. As far as individuals, there's so many, honestly, because we have so many guys that are going to play much more as far as their production and their minutes this year. Guys like Ramad Dean, who have had ridiculous summers, and Angel Montez, who's going to be healthy for the first time and come out on the scene, and guys like Elijah Gray, who might have as much talent at 6'9" as any player I've been around, and he's grown mature, emotionally and physically, and he's going to continue to get better each and every day, and his production is going to increase. And Josh Rivera, high level transfer. Jaffe Mador, arguably the fastest, most athletic guard in the Atlantic 10 with a 46-inch vertical. And then the staples. Will Richardson, I expect to be a first team all conference player. I think he's that talented. He showcased what he was capable of as a freshman. I think his work ethic, his routine of greatness is like nothing I've ever seen at his age, and he's going to reap the reward. So, and then, the old guys like Abdul, who hopefully averages a double-double, leads the country in blocks, and certainly in the Atlantic 10, people are going to, get to know him a lot more. But the staples and make our program what they are, ultimately Antrell Charlton, who's our Swiss Army knife, probably lead us in minutes again this year. Kyle Rose, who's the heart and soul of our team, right? I could go on and list everybody. Honestly, Zach Riley, who is Mr. Attitude, no matter what, no matter when, no matter where, he steps on the floor and does his job. And guys like Yole, who are a huge increase in size and athleticism at 6'11", high motor, and 26 years old, grown man, really mature. So, our freshman Jameer Tripp, man, when he gets his body right and he starts to develop and the speed of the game slows down, he arguably is as talented as anybody on the floor that you've seen in a long time, can play every position on the floor. So a lot of exciting things to take place if we stay healthy and we keep grinding. There's a lot of excitement. So I'm really, really happy with where we are right now, but we got to get better each and every day.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks so much again. This is a team that I'm excited for. I'm sure there's a ton of guys excited for, and it's going to be a great year. Everybody should pack late night on the hill. We'll be able to get a date too, and we'll find out when. But past couple of years for me, it's been awesome. Want to make sure everybody can make it to it. Have some type of awesome event. We're going to sell out every game again. Try to make that.
Love it. Let's do it.
Gonna make that a
great day to be a Ram every single day. Don't forget it.
Every single day, it's a great day to be a Ram. Be part of the Ramley, whatever you need to be. Yeah, thanks, Coach, and hope all's well. Enjoy the day.
Go Rams.
Go Rams.